Courtrooms are meant to be the embodiment of law and order, but for some defendants, they're just a launchpad for absurd escape attempts. From wheelchair acrobats to dramatic sprints that last mere minutes, or, let's be honest, sometimes just a few feet, these courtroom Houdinis have done it all. Some leave officers nursing broken ribs.
Still in a lot of pain. He had some fractured ribs and a concussion, a mild concussion, I guess. And I think he said he broke 4 ribs.
Others leave security protocols nursing their pride. And yet, whether their bids for freedom end in far-off cities or under the nearest shipping container, one thing's for sure, they only manage to add epic fail to their already colorful resumes. Let's kick things off with the man who was already facing murder charges, but his escape attempt caused him much more trouble than he was about to face. This case takes us to Hillsboro, Oregon, where the story of Edi Villalobos Jr. took a startling turn inside the Washington County Courthouse. Villalobos, facing already serious charges, was accused of murdering Artemio Guzman Olvera, his mother's longtime boyfriend, in 2021. The attack had been sudden and brutal, leaving Guzman Olvera fatally wounded despite family members' desperate attempts to save him. Afterward, Villalobos went on a violent spree, attacking 2 more people before leading police on a high-speed chase that ended with him breaking into an elderly couple's home to evade capture. Convicted of murder, burglary, and other crimes, Villalobos was no stranger to the justice system. On February 27, 2023, he was brought into court for jury selection. Standard procedure required deputies to remove his restraints, allowing him to sit unshackled during the hearing. No one could have imagined what would happen next. As soon as the shackles came off, Villalobos seized the opportunity. He darted behind desks and bolted for the door, slipping past deputies and into the courthouse hallways. Security footage captured his escape, showing him sprinting through corridors, dashing downstairs, and pushing through multiple doors. Onlookers watched in shock as officers scrambled after him. For hours, Villalobos managed to evade capture. Law enforcement eventually found him hiding in a closet in a vacant apartment.
A short time before.
And I go, what's going on? My doors are over, they're broken. And that's how, But now to find out, that's even more scarier. To find out, I live right here. To find out that he was in there, that's scary, not knowing that he was that close.
The moment Villalobos was taken into custody after a 2-hour search. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says he was hiding in a hallway and he was arrested without incident.
The failed escape attempt led to additional charges, including first-degree burglary and second-degree escape, further compounding his legal troubles. Villalobos, now convicted of multiple crimes, stand as a stark reminder of how quickly chaos can erupt, even within the walls of a courthouse. Next up is the man who tried to escape with his handcuffs on. Yes, you heard that right. This case takes us to Skowhegan, Maine, where Nicolas Carter, 31, stood trial for an unthinkable crime, convicted of Class A aggravated assault against a 14-month-old child. Carter's actions left the child with life-altering injuries, including vision loss in one eye, 3 brain surgeries, and a future filled with ongoing therapy and medical care. After a 3-day trial, the jury found him guilty.
Took him into custody. They handcuffed his hands in front of him, and for whatever reason only known to him, he panicked and decided to run.
Marking the end of a grim chapter for the victim's family. But Carter had one last desperate act in store. On September 11, 2024, just moments after his conviction was announced, Carter made his move. Still handcuffed, he jumped over the courtroom bar and bolted out of the second-floor chamber. Witnesses described a chaotic scene as he raced down the stairs, gripping the railing and leaping several steps at a time.
It was an isolated incident. When a person panics and runs, we have trained people that are there to respond to that situation, and they did.
Despite his restraints, Carter managed to dodge a wood blocker and sprint out of the courthouse. His escape didn't last long. Carter made it through the parking lot and across the street before tripping and falling in a nearby yard. In an unusual twist, 2 jurors from the trial, along with a pursuing detective, caught up with him and brought his brief dash for freedom to an end. The escape attempt only added to Carter's troubles, already facing a 20-year prison sentence for the assault. With all but 10 years suspended, his actions led to an additional charge of escape.
Carter made it out the door. He ran to this parking lot before running across the street where he tripped and fell. That's when a couple of bystanders jumped in and held him down until court security was able to take him back into custody.
These consequences reflect a justice system determined to hold him accountable, not only for the harm he inflicted, but for his audacious bid to evade responsibility. For Nicolas Carter, the courthouse escape was a fleeting moment of defiance, quickly overshadowed by the inevitability of justice. Now, things are getting heated, because the next one is the most bizarre escape of this list. Daniel Khalife's story reads like a plot ripped from the pages of a thriller. A former British soldier, Khalif, 23, was being held at HMP Wandsworth on charges of espionage and other offenses, including allegations of sharing sensitive information with Iran.
The plan had been to be caught in the act behaving suspiciously so that he'd be recategorised as a higher risk inmate, ready to be transferred to Belmarsh before his trial. He wanted to be kept away from other prisoners who might do him harm. The problem was, when he was caught, no further action was taken.
On September 6, 2023, he made headlines for something entirely different. A daring escape from one of the UK's largest prisons.
Court heard that initially Khalif actually had no intention of escaping from here.
It began during a routine kitchen shift duty. Dressed in a blue t-shirt and dark trousers, Khalif used a makeshift sling fashioned from knotted bedsheets to attach himself to the underside of a food delivery truck. CCTV footage later revealed him rolling under the lorry and clinging to it as it pulled away. By the time guards noticed he was missing during a routine head count, he was long gone, triggering a nationwide manhunt. Khalif's time on the run was audacious. Over 4 days, he roamed West London, shopping for clothes and supplies while evading capture. CCTV footage captured him in Mountain Warehouse, where he casually stole a blue cap, and later in Sainsbury's, Marks & Spencer, and even McDonald's, where he bought an espresso for £1.09. In one particularly brazen moment, he was seen reading about his own escape in a newspaper he purchased. Despite his calm demeanor, his escape ended on September 9, 2023, when police apprehended him along the Grand Union Canal in Northolt. His comments during the arrest added a surreal twist. He joked about the physical toll of clinging to the lorry, quipping, "I don't know how immigrants do it," and claimed he didn't think escaping prison was a crime. Khalif's trial revealed further intrigue. Authorities allege he had connections to Iranian intelligence, with encrypted messages and banking details found in the cell. Despite the drama of his escape and subsequent arrest, Khalif downplayed the event, calling it a planned stunt he assumed would result in being quickly captured. His case remains ongoing, but one thing is certain. Khalif's breakout has etched its name into the annals of Britain's most notorious prison escapes. Shifting our focus to the next case in which a criminal got help to escape. Yes, that's right. Someone helped him, but only caused him more trouble.
With the very latest. Brian, what'd you find out?
Well, Stephanie and Greg, the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office tells us Joshua Zimmerman's arrest will fill in the gaps on how he escaped from the DeSoto County Courthouse. But people we spoke with say the arrest of the deputy doesn't come as a complete surprise. They believe it had to be an inside job.
Joshua Zimmerman's escape on June 14, 2024 was a brazen and meticulously planned operation that left authorities scrambling and exposed security vulnerabilities in the Mississippi legal system, facing charges of attempted murder, armed robbery, and the murder of Kenyatta Mercer in Texas.
Having him in our hands will give us some really good leads on how all of this transpired.
Zimmerman was a high-risk detainee, yet on the day of his escape, he wasn't handcuffed and was dressed in khakis and a white shirt, blending in with courthouse personnel. Zimmerman's escape from the DeSoto County Courthouse was allegedly orchestrated with the help of Ronnie Hunt, who's a now disgraced deputy jailer who provided him with the tools and opportunity to flee. Security footage captured Zimmerman slipping away during a scheduled court appearance. His appearance unremarkable enough to avoid immediate suspicion. In the weeks that followed, Zimmerman's whereabouts remained a mystery. Meanwhile, Hunt was arrested and charged with aiding his escape and providing tools for the attempt. The DeSoto County Sheriff's Department acknowledged the escape had highlighted significant flaws in their security
somebody
protocols.
inside, because how would he get away the way they keep them shackled and stuff when they take them from courtroom to courtroom?
Which they vowed to address. Zimmerman's freedom ended on August 21st, 2024 in Chicago after a 15-hour standoff near the Democratic National Convention. Authorities apprehended him at a seafood restaurant where he had reportedly secured a job despite being one of the country's most wanted fugitives.
They were like, yeah, you guys need to leave. You know, there's a murder suspect. He's in the ceiling.
Marshals emphasized that his presence near the convention posed no threat to the event or its attendees. Both Zimmerman and Hunt are now in custody, with Zimmerman awaiting extradition to Texas to face murder charges. The investigation continues, and the incident has served a stark reminder of the risks posed by lapses in courthouse security and the potential dangers of corruption within law enforcement ranks. Like all the previous cases, this one also caused a lot of trouble for the authorities, but ended with an epic fail. Silverwater Prison, one of Australia's most secure correctional facilities, became the center of a dramatic escape story when Gary Glover, a 44-year-old inmate, defied the odds and fled. His audacious breakout set off a desperate manhunt, drawing widespread attention across Western Sydney. Glover, described as of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent, with a large build, brown eyes, and a tattoo of a flag on his neck, was last seen wearing his prison-issued green shirt and pants, black boots, and a high-visibility yellow vest. His escape wasn't a feat of brute force or cinematic tunnels. It was born of opportunity. Assigned to a minimum security role in ground maintenance just outside of the prison's fortified walls, Glover seized his moment to slip away into the city. By 1:30 p.m., he was seen on Jameson Street in Silverwater, triggering immediate alerts. Authorities warned the public not to approach him and to call 000 if spotted. While Glover was serving a sentence for driving offenses, a far cry from violent crime, his escape sparked urgency and concern among the police and community alike. Police scoured the area, with helicopters circling and officers sweeping neighborhoods, piecing together Glover's trail.
The Crown alleged that during a 25-minute window, Davidson bashed and strangled his neighbouring cellmate before calmly exiting.
The search ended 30 kilometers away in Mount Druitt, where he was captured and brought to the Mount Druitt police station. Charges were expected to follow, adding to his existing sentence. Stillwater Prison, which boasts a reputation for near impenetrable security, rarely sees escapes, according to correction sources. These prisons are built so well that the only escapes you see are when inmates in minimum security are let out for work release, an official noted. In fact, such events are now extraordinarily rare compared to the days when over 100 escapes occurred annually decades ago. This next case is purely dramatic. It felt like it came out straight from an action movie. Andrew Patty, 32, stunned Dundee Sheriff Court when he bolted from the dock after being handed a 32-month prison sentence for violent assaults on prison officers. Slipping out of his jacket as staff tried to restrain him, Patty burst through double doors and vanished onto Bell Street, mere steps from police headquarters. The dramatic escape triggered an immediate manhunt. Patty was eventually found shivering under a shipping container near Aberdeen University after a 20-minute standoff with officers in heavy rain. In court, Patty faced charges stemming from a 2021 prison altercation where he assaulted multiple officers, leaving one with permanent injuries and forcing him into medical retirement. Sheriff Paul Brown revoked Patty's bail, ordered his remand, and deferred sentencing pending further decisions on contempt charges and potential prosecution for the escape. Patty's dramatic flight highlights systemic risks and raises questions about court security protocols. Is there any escape in which a defendant just walked out of the room? I might say this one fits pretty well. In 2015, Gerald Hyde II pulled off a bold escape from Benton County Superior Court in Washington, simply by walking away. Hyde, in custody for a methamphetamine conviction, exploited a momentary lapse in oversight. While being escorted by a guard, he slipped into an empty courtroom through a blind spot, shed his prison shirt and shoes, and bolted barefoot through the courthouse. The escape, captured on CCTV, ended with Hyde casually walking out the front door. His freedom was short-lived. Just 2 hours later, police tracked him to a friend's house a few miles away and rearrested him. In court, Hyde attempted to represent himself on charges of second-degree escape, arguing he hadn't fled a detention facility since he ran from the courthouse. The jury wasn't convinced, convicting him in just 13 minutes. While his original methamphetamine charge was dismissed, the escape earned him a prison sentence of 2 years and 2 months. Hyde's brazen getaway exposed flaws in courthouse security, prompting officials to address blind spots and tighten procedures. Previous cases were just escapes, but this one, it caused some serious injuries to the authorities.
Still in a lot of pain. He had some fractured ribs and a concussion, a mild concussion, I guess, and I think he said he broke 4 ribs.
Nicholas Garrison, 33 years old, faced the consequences of his actions in an Ohio courtroom in 2020 after being convicted of drug possession. Sentenced to 1 year in jail and a $2,500 fine, Garrison had little room for negotiation. However, rather than accept his fate, he decided to make a daring and dangerous escape. As deputies moved to handcuff him, Garrison bolted. The courtroom security cameras captured every heart-stopping second. He dashed through the courtroom, pushed through a door, and raced down a flight of stairs. In a desperate attempt to intercept him, a bailiff leapt over the stairway banister, but landed hard, breaking 4 ribs and suffering a concussion. Despite the officer's immediate pursuit, Garrison managed to flee the courthouse, vanish, sparking a widespread manhunt. Days later, a tip led police to a motel in Clinton County. At 4:30 a.m., officers surrounded the location and arrested him without incident. While his escape briefly delayed his punishment, it added to his legal troubles. Garrison now faces additional charges for his audacious attempts to evade justice, ensuring his time behind bars will far exceed the initial sentence for drug possession. Last but not the least, of course, this defendant was in a wheelchair when he got the chance to escape, but how did he manage it? Well, you might need to know the whole thing.
What happens when a wheelchair-bound convict runs for his freedom?
Joel Sanchez Delgado, 41, a man with a history of serious crimes, made headlines in March 2022 for a bold courthouse escape in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Hey, can you call the police for me? Call the police for me. Hey, call the police. Call the police. Where'd he go?
Delgado was in custody on charges of burglary, drug trafficking, and firearm possession, alongside allegations of shooting his girlfriend during a violent domestic dispute. Known for his criminal record spanning years, Delgado was no stranger to audacious behavior. The incident unfolded as Delgado, claiming an injury, was being wheeled into the Pulaski County Courthouse for a court appearance. While the escorting officer momentarily focused on retrieving a shoe Delgado claimed to have lost, Delgado made his move. Using the wheelchair and courthouse railings to his advantage, he leapt to his feet and bolted, leaving the officer momentarily stuck behind the chair and unable to immediately react. The officer's pursuit was hindered further when it became evident he didn't have his radio to call for backup, forcing him to shout for help from bystanders. Delgado's escape triggered a manhunt that sent downtown Little Rock into lockdown. Schools and businesses in the area were placed on high alert as authorities scoured the area for the fugitive. Delgado managed to remain free for several hours before deputies found him about 7 miles away. He was taken into custody without further incident and charged with felony escape. This wasn't Delgado's first run-in with the law, nor his first brush with dramatic escapes.
From the other side of town.
The 41-year-old is being wheeled into an ambulance, claiming to be injured and unable to walk.
His history includes theft, forgery, and other crimes involving stolen vehicles and firearms. Despite the daring escape, his freedom was fleeting, adding yet another charge to his growing list of offenses. The incident raised serious questions about transport protocols, serving as a stark reminder of the risks officers face with seemingly incapacitated inmates.
He jumped the rail. It's on my camera, bro. What's that? He jumped the rail, kicked his shoe, and came home. I been down to get his shoe. He just ran. He took off on it. Yeah. Should have had Kurt to the wheelchair. Yeah. Hey, it's they gonna say that too. Yeah, they gonna say that, bro. They gonna say, why y'all didn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, he on this race, he couldn't move along. That's why I ain't come. Yeah, we both listen to that. Yeah. I'm already really probably get rolled up. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get rolled up. Yeah, I should have cuffed his ass. Yeah. And you know what I thought about it? Touched upon my first mind, bro.
So what do you think? Are these escapes gutsy, goofy, or just plain doomed? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss more wild stories like these. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.